Are you looking to dive into the world of pool ownership, but find the technology a little scary to handle? Well, today I'm joined by Kadison Hipel of Hipel Pools out of the Kitchener area in Ontario, Canada. He is an entrepreneur that's driven by childhood memories and a passion for helping families create lasting moments around the pool. From his journey in sod production to becoming a pool industry expert, Kadison shares insights into hiring experienced contractors, launching a learning management system for pool owners, and navigating the pros and cons of fiberglass pools. So get ready to make a splash and unlock the secrets to pool success with Kadison Hipel. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Promo Minds podcast interview series. We've been taking a look at contractors and landscapers who are trusted experts in their field. And today we have a great guest, Kadison Hipel from Hipel Pools. He's the owner and president, which he began in 2018 after he spent 6 years in the sod production and farming industry. He did a year of landscaping before venturing out on his own. And he specializes in fiberglass pools mainly. And he's got a lot of great knowledge to share. He is passionate about bringing pools to people's backyards. And he shared that, he grew up with pools in his grandparents' place, and he wants to bring those treasured memories to families all around him. So please welcome to the stage, Kadison Hipel. Hey, Kadison, how are you doing today?
Good, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on to the show. I know the few conversations that we've had, you have taught me a lot, and so I'm really appreciative of that. And I said to you, I got to get you on the show because a guy that knows his stuff, that's the kind of guy that people should be reaching out to and listening to. So thank you very much for coming on to the show. If you could maybe share a little insight onto, you had mentioned, or I'd mentioned in the intro there, that you started out in the sod production and farming industry. That's really cool. I've never spoken to anyone who has done that before. And then major transition to landscaping, and then opening up your own pool company. So maybe you could share a little insights onto what led to opening up your own pool company from that transition.
Yeah, so I worked at a sod farm basically right out of high school. I would have been 18. Did that for about 6 years. I worked at a sod farm in Cambridge, and then I ended up moving to Hamilton, and I lived on a sod farm out there. My role there was mostly managing the production of sod, so from seeding grass up to the time that a skid of sod was actually sitting on a truck ready to be delivered to a customer. Really enjoyed the job. It was a very difficult job. There was a lot of hours involved in it. And as I started to get a little bit older, and by that I mean 22, 23, it was just getting to be too much. And I realized as I get older, I wasn't going to want to do that forever. So I left there with the intention of starting my own landscaping company. So I left and I worked for a landscaping company in Kitchener. And when I was working there, we installed it's called an Immer spa. It's a in-ground fiberglass kind of hot tub, and I thought it was really cool. So shortly after that, when I was there for about a year, I left and started primarily doing landscaping. And then just before COVID, we kind of transitioned more into pools, and the rest is pretty much history.
Right on. Now, is that your main brand, the Immersed Spa, or is there a different fiberglass brand that you guys primarily deal with?
No, we do a lot of different brands. The primary brand we do is a Canadian manufacturer called Dolphin Fiberglass Pools. They're based in Trenton, Ontario. And they also have a sister company called Aqua Reno, which is based in Quebec.
Okay, right on. So maybe you could share a little bit about the benefits of fiberglass and why you recommend going that way.
The real benefit to fiberglass when compared to a vinyl liner pool would be the fact that you don't have to replace a liner, say every 10 years or so. So the trade-off is it costs a little bit more to install a fiberglass pool up front. So you might spend 10%, 15% more to install a fiberglass pool initially. But the savings is not having to replace the liner maybe 3 or 4 times over the lifespan of the pool. So over the long term, it should be a cost savings. The major downside to a fiberglass pool is they're manufactured off a predetermined mold. So you can't customize a fiberglass pool to be whatever you want. You can't, if you want a 14-foot by 30-foot pool with an 8-foot deep end, you're not going to find a fiberglass pool that has that. And if that deep end is something you really want, then maybe a vinyl liner pool would be the route to go. But the real benefit is in the cost savings long term, not having to replace a vinyl liner.
Right on. I'm always curious with fiberglass pools. I know that and we can get into a little bit of this with some of the things that had happened over the last few years in the pandemic and whatnot. But like any pool, there can be challenges and complications, and so that's why you really want to make sure that you hire a contractor who knows what he's doing. And so maybe you could share a little insight onto some of the things that people could, I guess, not so much look out for, but I guess be aware of when asking or vetting contractors specifically for fiberglass pools.
Yeah, I think in pools in generally, I think experience is a big one. I mean, a pool is obviously a very, very big investment, and small mistakes when installing a pool could mean big costs to fix down the road. So I really think making sure you have an experienced contractor is very important. And sorry.
It's okay. You can take a minute.
Yeah, just getting an experienced contractor, I would say, is the big one. Making sure that they've been doing it a while, they've got some under their belt. I mean, when I got started in fiberglass pools, I had really never done it before. I'm pretty much self-taught installing them, and I for sure had some hard issues in the early years putting them in. But over the span of 6 years, we put a lot of pools in, and with experience, it gets easier, and you feel more comfortable doing it.
Right on. And does Dolphin do any trainings or anything like that for?
Yeah. So pretty much every fiberglass pool manufacturer will have training that you have to go through to become a certified dealer. Because at the end of the day, you're selling their product, and you ultimately are representing their brand. So they do a fairly thorough job of vetting the contractors that are selling their products and training them on the way that they feel is the proper way to install their product.
Hey guys, if you're looking for a great book to read as it pertains to presentation skills, one book I would recommend is The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs by Carmine Gallo. This book has a lot of great tidbits for preparing for a speech or presentation, whether it's a webinar or in front of a live audience. It's really good and really useful. I found it very handy when I was first getting started with my presentations, and I definitely recommend checking it out. That's The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs by Carmine Gallo. All right, let's get back to the show. Now, I know in one of our previous conversations, I found you were very knowledgeable when it came to different product lines. And I find everyone kind of has their preferences and things that they don't like, but the way that you approached it, I feel is very valuable because you were able to kind of explain the different brands like the Hayward, Pentair, Jandy, and you mentioned that Jandy is actually your preference, and so maybe you could share a little insight onto why Jandy and maybe some of the products that you really enjoy with them.
Yeah, I think a lot of pool builders can be very stuck in their ways and what they do, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the kind of three main brands of pool equipment, we call them the big three, would be Hayward, Pentair, and Jandy. I've used all of them, maybe some more than others. But Jandy, I feel, they have a very good engineering team. The products they've developed they install very well, and they're a very innovative, progressive company that's always coming up with new ideas, and I really like that. Um, and every company, every pool equipment manufacturer kind of has their own thing that they're good at, and there's value in each brand.
Absolutely. One particular product that is actually a Hayward, or a Pentair product that you had brought up was this hybrid heat pump and natural gas propane heater that you can get through Pentair. And funny enough, after our conversation, in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, someone had actually asked about this particular unit or something similar to it, and they were directed to kind of price out this beast versus getting two separate units and kind of outweighing the pros and cons of it. So maybe you could share a little bit on the couple installs that you've done with it, and maybe share what you like, what you don't like, what have you experienced with it?
Yeah, so we found in recent years that that heat pumps are getting much more popular, just because they're energy efficient. The problem with them is, as you get later into the year, maybe September, October, you start to get cooler nights. Heat pumps aren't as effective at working. So maybe some people also want to add in a natural gas heater or a propane heater to their pool. That'll work very well as it gets colder. So, it's kind of silly to have a heat pump and or a fossil fuel heater that are separate units. So Pentair basically made the UltraTemp ETI, which combines them both into one unit. And the extra benefit of that is they have a programmed logic into it that will determine what's the most efficient thing to run, either the heat pump or the gas heater, depending on the temperature you set it to, and what'll heat it up the fastest.
Right on. So kind of going back to the intro there, I had mentioned that, or I brought up the fact that you enjoyed being around your grandparents' swimming pool growing up, and that's actually one of your passions, one of your reasons why you want to bring that to other families. And so maybe you could touch on why that's so special to you. Why did that I guess you growing up with that, why did those particular memories come to light for you? Or maybe what's a feel-good story you could share with one of the families that you've served?
Yeah, I mean, with the people that we do pools for, we ultimately end up becoming friends. I've had dinner with people we've done pools for. But I think when you're growing up with a pool and you're a kid, you don't really, it's hard to appreciate a pool. I mean, you're out there having fun, just being a kid. And then, I think as you get older, you maybe start to realize the sacrifices your parents or your grandparents had to make to be able to afford that privilege for you. And you have birthday parties with families, for your grandparents or your siblings. Maybe you have a big family get together, and it's all, it's based around a pool. And then as I got older and my grandparents, are starting to get older and having some health issues, you really start to appreciate that time that you had with your family around the pool. And that's something we're starting to see more and more is we install pools for a lot of grandparents, and they're doing it because they want their grandkids to come to their house and have something to do there with them. And I love when I go to even people's houses who have little kids, and the kids are in the house, and I'm outside talking to the parents, and the kids know that they're outside talking to a pool guy, and you can see them kind of peeking out the window all excited about it. And yeah, it just it's something that I was very fortunate to have growing up, and I think it's great.
That's awesome. So just out of curiosity, what would you say was your favorite memory from growing up with that?
I wouldn't say this isn't really a family memory, but this pool now is probably 40 years old. But when I was probably maybe say 10 years old, I was playing around with the skimmer basket. I had taken the skimmer basket out of the skimmer housing and left it on the pool deck while I was in swimming, and I had one of those little soft squishy balls in the pool with me, and it got sucked into the skimmer line and lodged in the pipe underground. So the pool basically couldn't run. So me and my grandpa spent a day trying to find the pipe and digging the pipe out so we could dislodge the ball out of the pipe so we could get the pool going again.
Wow. So I'm assuming that you guys ended up finding it, or did you have to get someone to come in?
We did end up finding it. We kind of prodded the line to kind of find out roughly where it was lodged.
Yep.
And it wasn't overly difficult, but it was definitely not something you want to do.
Oh man, that sucks. Hey guys, if you're into hiking at all, I highly recommend subscribing to my YouTube page, Steve Leslie Hikes. That's Steve Leslie Hikes on YouTube. I have a lot of content on there from some of the crazy hikes that I've been on, including Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. And it'd be really cool to connect on there. So please check me out. Thanks. In one of our previous conversations, we were talking a little bit about some of the things that we've seen in the industry over the past few years. And you had mentioned, because you guys primarily do mostly new builds, focus on openings and closings of your customer base, but there was a particular story that maybe you could share with something that happened in your neighborhood with one of the horror stories with the fly-by-nighters that we saw come into the industry during the pandemic. But there is a feel-good story with that, because I'll let you share it, because I think it's a great story to share.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess through COVID, pools were kind of the sexy thing, and everyone was busy, and a lot of people got into it thinking, they were gonna either make a quick buck or maybe be in it for the long term. But yeah, we basically had a customer that approached us at the very beginning of the pandemic to put in a pool for him. And we quoted it out, ended up never really hearing back from him. And then about a year later, he contacted us again, being in a little bit of a situation. So basically what had happened is he had contracted somebody else to build the pool, and had given them a deposit, and they started the work. They dug a very large hole. It was probably about 20 by 40, 8 feet deep. Dug the hole, and they took off, and he has never heard from them again. He had given them somewhere in the neighborhood of about $50,000 at this point. And keep in mind, this is in a very prestigious neighborhood. So this customer of ours had to live with a massive hole in his yard for a year, until he contacted us. And then it was very, very difficult for us to get pools at that time. So, you know, it might have been a year and a half until we actually, he hired us to go back and kind of fix the hole up and put a fiberglass pool in. So we did end up finishing the project for him. Unfortunately, he's never heard from that. He is, you know, trying to chase after him legally, however he's doing that. But it's not likely to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I know there's a couple instances, one in Barrie actually that I found out. I'm not even going to say the name of the company, and there's another one that we actually dealt with in the London area, and it was just, you know, same kind of situation. And unfortunately, those, when you have such an incredible boom in the industry, you see more and more of that. So the good thing is that because of the shift in the economy, a lot of those guys have kind of exited the industry. So that's a good thing. But there are a lot of instances out there. Some, you know, that's an extreme case. There are some that's, you know, just little things like little equipment changes and stuff that were done wrong. But yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that stuff happened, and it's, I don't think it will. You know, there's stories of that, I guess, all the time. But you know, I guess it just goes back to the importance of making sure you're picking an experienced contractor that you know is reliable. And you know, I get it. At that time, everyone wanted a pool, and you know, if someone told them that they could be there in 2 months, they went for it. But I think ultimately, for a lot of people, it ended up being a mistake.
Yeah. So I'm curious so you've been around in the pool industry since 2018. So this will be your 6th season.
Yeah.
And I'm curious with, you know, running your own business, having like crews and everything, what have been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned throughout your tenure?
There has been a lot of lessons. I would say there's probably almost lessons daily. You know, I think for me the biggest thing was, you know, I'm very fortunate that I have a very good group of people that work for me. You know, I own the company alongside my brother. You know, I have our mom that does kind of our office admin and just kind of communicating with customers while we're out, you know, putting pools in. That's been the biggest thing. Is, you know, I've been very lucky to have a good team with me. But you know, it's also again, it kind of comes back to the experience. You know, like we've been through so much over the pools we've installed. You know, I always tell myself, you know, there can't be much more we could endure that would be problematic. But you know, it seems like every year there's stuff that pops up. But we've been through a lot of it now, and we've kind of built up that experience base, and it's very helpful at this point in time.
Right on. Now, shifting gears a little bit, one of the things that you brought to my eyes was this federal grant that you had mentioned to help businesses get up to speed with their digital marketing. And after our conversation, I looked online. I was trying to get some answers into whether or not this federal grant was still intact. And to be honest, I haven't found like a yay or nay yet. But just in case it is, I would like to get your opinion on it. Maybe you could explain it a little bit of, you know, maybe what you've seen or how you've been able to utilize it and how businesses can take advantage of it.
Yeah, so we got the grant last so the fall of 2023. The grant is called the Canadian Digital Adoption Program, or CDAP for short. So basically what it is it's up to a $100,000 interest-free loan, which you would pay back. So there's a period of 1 year where you don't have to make any payments on it, and then after that you pay it back over 5 years. You only qualify for the $100,000, I believe, if your revenue is over $5 million annually. So ours was beneath that. We ended up getting a $40,000 interest-free loan, which at, with rates what they are, that's absolutely fantastic. And then the second part of it is you can get a wage subsidy to implement your digital adoption plan, which I believe is for $7,200. They changed it now, so it to get the wage subsidy grant, the person that you hire has to be under the age of 30. But basically, kind of the process of it is you apply for the grant, and if you meet the criteria, you hire a kind of a marketing agency of some kind to work with you to develop a digital adoption plan. So that could be, maybe you want to improve your website, or maybe I mean, there's lots of things. Website, maybe it's marketing material. Maybe you want to develop a customer relationship system, something like that. So they help you develop a plan, kind of go through your pain points in your business, what would work with you, what's going to align with the grant. So you pay that marketing company. It's about $15,000, and then once that plan is finished, the marketing company submits it to the grant program, so the federal government, and then once they approve it, they refund you that $15,000, and then you can apply. It's through the BDC, the Business Development Bank of Canada, is the $40,000 grant. So then you can apply to the BDC to get that, and as long as you check out with that, you qualify for that.
Right on. That's a great explanation there. I was talking with a marketing company up in the Ottawa area recently, and they had mentioned that they had helped some businesses get the $100,000 loan and everything. So I'll be interviewing them in a couple of weeks to get some more information on that. But
I don't know if they've completely shut down the grant, or maybe if it's just paused for a period of time. It seems like as of right now, it's not active. It might be again in the future. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is for that.
All right. Well, maybe I can get some more answers on what's going on with it then.
Yeah, great. I mean, interest-free loan, can't go wrong. Even if you didn't really intend to use it in your business, I think you could probably put it in a safe investment like a GIC or something like that, and kind of get some benefit out of it. But yeah.
Right on. And I will add to do your own research and don't take any investment advice. Now, I'm actually very curious about the sod industry, because, like I said, I've never interviewed anyone that had worked in there. So I do have a question, even though this seems a little off topic. But so with the rolls of sod, how do you actually construct that? Like, do you plant everything on a set belted sheet or something, or how does that work?
In different parts of the world, there's different types of grass. So in this part of the world, we use a cool season grass, and its root network allows it to be rolled in a roll. If you go to like warmer climates, like where they use warm season grasses, like maybe Arizona, places like that, they don't actually come in rolls there. There might be varieties of sod that do come in rolls there, but most of it would be actually in slabs. They're just like a sheet of it. But basically, in our part of the world, it takes anywhere from 18 growing months up to 3 years to grow the sod to a point where the root network is stable enough that when you harvest it off of a field, that it can actually be rolled.
Oh wow!
Which is not, I don't know how many people care about this, but the harvester, a brand that makes it, it's called the Trebro Auto Stack 2. It's very cool. It's an automated machine that automatically rolls the rolls and then stacks all the rolls onto a skid. It's a pretty cool machine, invented by a bunch of farmers who were sick of hand stacking rolls on a skid.
That makes sense. So how does one get started in that industry? Did you have like a connection and just kind of went for it, or how did that
Yeah,
begin?
so the probably what is the largest sod farm in Canada is actually kind of headquartered in. They have a main farm in Cambridge, Ontario, and then another one in Hamilton. And I did have some family connections to that operation. And but when I started there, they have a very big soil soil operation as well. So they make a product called Big Yellow Bag, which is a bag filled with garden soil that they deliver to your house and set on your driveway. So I started in that, and I kind of worked in that part of the business for the first 3 years. And then, while I was doing that, I did kind of dabble in the sod part of it a bit. And then after that 3 years, I fully transitioned into more of the sod growing aspect of it. So, we had a team of about six guys who mow grass full time. All the fertilizing, spraying for weeds and things like grubs, stuff like that. But really, my role was to get the sod from the point that it was seeded up until the point that it was, sitting on the pallet on the truck.
Right on. That sounds like quite the process there.
It is. It's a very intensive business. There is a lot involved in it, but it's very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Kadison, I'm curious to know, because we're getting close to the end here. Is there any books or podcasts or YouTube channels that you would recommend people check out? Doesn't have to be genre specific. Could be anything that you enjoy.
Yeah, I think I've got one of each for you. I'd say recently for podcasts, I've been listening to the Home Service Expert by Tommy Mello, he's a garage door guy out of Arizona, I believe. For a YouTube channel related to swimming pools, there's a great YouTube channel called Swim University, which it'd be great for pool professionals or homeowners. It's a great resource just about how to look after your pool. If you end up in certain situations like you have algae or something like that, just how to deal with that. Fantastic resource. And then I guess a business related book that's also kind of related to the swimming pool industry is a book called They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan, who used to be a pool installer, became a pool manufacturer. And I don't know if he's sold the business now, but now he has a marketing company based on the methodology in the book They Ask You Answer.
Right. I'm definitely going to check out that book for sure. And Swim University, it's funny that you bring that up, because that's one of the examples I use when explaining, I guess, with companies creating videos for their product lines. And one of my pet peeves in the pool industry is has to do with the chemical manufacturers who, they go through the effort of putting these YouTube videos together on how you can utilize their product to clean and fix a green pool. But then they go about titling it, ABC product demo, when people will actually be typing in, how do I fix my green pool? Yeah. So that's a great resource, not just for knowledge, but also to see how to develop your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, so the CDAP grant that we received, we're using that to develop our own learning management system. So it would be very similar to Swim University, which is a very kind of broad spectrum pool care. So our LMS system is something we would give to our customers for nothing, and it would be very specific to what we do. So it would educate them on, how to operate the pumps that we use, how to look after their filters that we use, how to look after the heaters we use, how to troubleshoot those things, how to look after their water chemistry, but make it so it's specific to what we're doing, and then it allows us to educate our customer, and they always have that resource there to look after their pool.
That's really cool. Actually, I had a conversation a week or so ago with a guy, and we were talking about this sort of kind of video resource library idea. And he had mentioned that, if you go and you buy a new car, most dealerships will give you some sort of app or something where you have all these videos that'll teach you what each button means or how to operate your vehicle. And it was kind of surprising that, we hadn't heard a lot about that in the swimming pool industry, especially with all the technology these days. So I think that's really cool that you guys are adapting that into your own sort of brand. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a major pain point for new pool owners too, that they spent all this money, and then they're totally overwhelmed by how to look after this and how to run it. And you can find stuff on YouTube, but maybe it's not exactly what they have, or it's just all this sporadic information that's easy to get confused about. So I think it would give our customers a lot of value to have that resource.
Absolutely. And you're definitely the guy for the job, because like I said to begin with this, you educated me on multiple things when we first talked. So really appreciative of that. Do you have any home shows coming up that you're going to be a part of?
We don't really do home shows at this point. No, we don't really do home shows.
All right.
We should.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm curious, how can people connect with you or reach out to you outside of this interview?
You can always visit our website at hipelpools.ca, or we're on Instagram as Hipel Pools. We're on Facebook. Yeah.
Right on. Well, Kadison, I really appreciate you taking the time to join the show today. And I know it's it's can be a little short sometimes because you're a very knowledgeable guy. So I really appreciate you coming on, and we will chat soon. All right.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Talk soon.
All right. Take care. All right. So there you have it. Kadison Hipel from Hipel Pools. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced his last name to begin with, but I can't stress this enough. When you're looking for a contractor to come in and do the work for you, you really want to focus on experience, exactly what Kadison said. And that is part of the reason for bringing the series out for you, so that you can do a little bit more vetting and understand who the trusted experts are. So if you are in the Kitchener area and you're looking to get a new pool installed, definitely give Kadison's team a shout, and and we'll have his information in the show notes below, or the description below. And until next time, I really appreciate you guys listening in, tuning into the series. Leave your comments, questions, and I'm your host, Steve Leslie. Until next time, take care. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Promo Minds Podcast. I'm Steve Leslie, and if you want help crafting your message or sharing your story, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help. Love coming up with ideas, and we can have a nice chat. So reach out to promominds@gmail.com and I'll respond. Take care.